Hey, greetings everyone. It's Gleekon here again with another episode of Lore of Warcraft. When we left off, where did we leave off? I think we read maybe a chapter in the Beyond the Dark Portal book, and the orcs are kind of like officially through the portal. Act 1 is over. They're ready to start attacking. So they're not quite up to Netherguard yet, but they're talking about it. They're planning it. That's what they want to do. But in the next chapter, we have the next chapter in the novel references Lord Daval Prestor. So what's the coolest thing I would say so far about this game and this expansion is Chronicles is like hook, line, and sinker bought in. This novel is what's canon. The game, okay, but they're like, Christy Golden, other dude, you two work together. We like what you've done. We're going to consider that canon according to Chronicles. So that's kind of neat. All right, but stay a while and listen to this one called Lord Daval Prestor. Deathwing had gone into hiding shortly after the Second War ended. And if you remember, he's the one that really was pulling the strings to get dragons in the hands of the orcs in the first place. His plan had failed. The orcs had not conquered Azeroth, but there had been some small victories. Much of the Red Dragonflight, along with its leader Alexstrasza, was still under the Dragonmaw clan's control. The other aspects had not yet taken action against the orcs. Most of the dragons feared falling prey to the demon soul and suffering Alexstrasza's fate. The human kingdoms had also experienced heavy losses, and they needed time to recover. When he sensed the rift to Draenor expanding, Deathwing wondered if the orcs had somehow managed to replenish their numbers for yet another war at full strength, but it soon became clear that their invasion was only a feint. Conquest was not their purpose, so he's realizing that before the Alliance even realizes that. And yet Deathwing was intrigued. He decided to take on human form once again and influence the Alliance's response to the Horde. This tactic had been very effective during the First War. Yeah, as you remember, they don't mention it in the manual or anything, but he's the reason why there was no alliance happening in the First War. There was another political crisis taking place. The Alliance was furious at Alterax's betrayal, and there was much debate as to how the kingdom should be punished, or if it even deserved to exist. Lordaeron had become the place where these debates were held. Deathwing returned there in a new human form, casting himself as a minor noble lord named Lord Daval Prestor, a distant cousin of King Perinold. Having an apparent connection to Alterac royalty gave his words weight. Prestor advised plus since the Alterac people are like the ones that are punished, they probably aren't going to be privy to these meetings and decisions, so no one's going to be there to be like, no, you're not my relative. Prestor advised Lordaeron's king Tyrannus to establish martial law in Alterac until the line of succession could be settled. This move split the attentions of the Alliance army, weakening its response to the Horde's new invasion. The human leaders found Prestor to be charming, endearing, and refreshingly pragmatic. He showed no signs of being prickly about the pride of his people, and he seemed to have only the best interests of the Alliance at heart. With the Alliance snared in unnecessary turmoil, Deathwing formed his endgame to restore his black dragonflight to its former power and glory. The human nations were unlikely to suffer serious damage from the Horde's invasion, and thus his plans on Azeroth would not advance. Any attempt to re-establish the Black Dragonflight would be noticed by the Alliance, and more importantly by the other dragon aspects. Perhaps the solution to that problem did not lie on Azeroth at all. The orcs' homeworld Draenor. The other dragonflights could not threaten Deathwing there. And you know that somehow dragons have to get to Draenor, even though we've talked about how they're not native. The closest thing they had are those whatever the little two-headed flayed wings or whatever they are. Can't remember what they're called. The Sky Terrors. Whatever the Dragonmaw clan used to ride. It mattered little that the world was blighted. Dragons did not need to live off the land the same way mortals did. Deathwing moved to make contact with the Horde once again. And I think they also have to somehow set up to why, because one of the NPCs is Deathwing. Why does Deathwing come and fight for the Horde on the Draenor mission? So that's definitely a harder sell once Deathwing becomes so important to the lore of the game that they definitely have to like retcon all these machinations of Deathwing in there. But either way, it's pretty cool, even if it's a retcon. All right, we got another episode in the pipe, 5x5. We can now read about this in novel form on the next episode of Lore of Warcraft. Thanks everyone so much for listening.